Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Wrestling Inc. Daily. It's me, your managing editor of WrestlingInc.com, Nick Hausman, joined here as I am every Tuesday to get tickled to talk all the news of the past 24 hours from the wild, exciting world of professional wrestling. It's our good friend, Second City Chicago's EJ Cameron. EJ, welcome back to the Wrestling Inc. Daily.
Good afternoon. Good to be back, Nick. I missed you last week, but I'm back.
Yes, EJ is here. Apologies for the late start. We had some technical issues, but we were able to resolve them, so everything's fine. Nobody freak out here. Be like Gary Lyles. What's up, Nick? Fist bump, EJ. I like that. Don't be like MCAS. Hausman on time like usual. Come on now. Come on.
Like, there's a grace period. There's a grace period that's allowed nowadays. If it's after 10 minutes, you're late.
You don't want to be that kid who wants to be the hall monitor in middle school. All right? Not as an adult. Do not strive to be that, okay? We got a great show here planned for you today. A lot of news to get to here in our news block. And today we have an interview. After the news block, if you're listening to us in audio form, you're going to get to hear my interview with AEW's Serena Deeb. She's taking on Hikaru Shida tomorrow night. AEW Winter is coming. We're going to talk all about that. Her role in the ring and backstage at AEW, and, of course, her time with CM Punk as part of the Straight Edge Society. Great interview. If you're watching us in video form, 24 minutes from now, that's going to debut over on the Wrestling Inc. YouTube channel. We'll have some highlights up on the site here in a little bit. And at the end of the show for everybody, video, audio, we're going to dive in the mailbag. We're going to talk about the McMahons. But without further ado, EJ, are you ready to get into some news you can use? News that'll leave a bruise.
I'm ready for all the family wrestling fun.
Okay, we got a lot of family wrestling fun to get to here today. We'll start with the Hardy family fun? Question mark. So Matt took to Twitch on Monday night to discuss his brother's recent WWE release and his future. He noted on Twitch, Jeff is doing well. No reason to be concerned. He also said he's not worried about any issues with Jeff right now, that the current version of Jeff is the best he's ever seen. He also confirmed that Jeff told WWE he didn't need to go to rehab right now. Matt also said WWE did help Jeff a lot with rehab in 2019, but he declined the offer earlier this month. Matt said he also doesn't feel like Jeff needs rehab right now, and that he's currently in a good place. He noted that Jeff will eventually explain everything when he's ready to, and while his biggest concern is Jeff's happiness and health, Jeff is both right now happy and healthy. We'll start there. There's some more stuff to get into. What do you think about the initial comments here from Matt about Jeff?
It's that classic line, am I my brother's keeper sort of vibe.
Sure.
I think he knows his brother. They want to make sure that I think they know. It might have been a lapse. I don't know if you've known anybody with battling addiction issues. Sometimes there's a brief lapse. I would like to think the WWE had a conversation with him instead of you're going to rehab or you're fired.
Right.
So I would like to think that he knows himself. I would like to hear what Jeff has to say, but I feel like there was a documentary where they showed like Matt and Jeff kind of like working in cahoots to be like, hey, you need some of this, bro? Or like some. So that's my one hang up. But if they say that they're happy and healthy, they're happy and healthy.
You know, and that's the thing is I want to take them at their word for right now. We really have only largely gotten kind of the leaked WWE side of it. And Matt here largely kind of confirming what we have heard, but we haven't quite got the other side of that picture here quite yet. Now, on a related note, Jeff did appear during 2 Matt Fact videos that aired on Matt's Twitch and YouTube channels. Those were Monday night. Now, Matt's first Matt Fact clip talked about how he's the brains behind the Hardy Boys, fueling the rumors and speculation on a possible Matt and Jeff reunion in AEW. You want to react to that real quick?
That seems like the logical move. Jeff, as we talk, he's over like Rover. I thought that he was about to get another championship run in WWE. It felt like it. It felt like the audience was really pushing for it, and then this happened. So it seems oddly timed. But
Yeah.
sure, if they're reuniting, that'll be cool. I guess I would. Would they be something new? Or are they gonna be the Hardy Boys in their Jinko jeans?
Yeah. I mean, I just want everybody to feel safe kind of in that space, right? Because like with all the questions around this right now, and Morbid 478 here saying, wait till you have all the facts is annoying when they don't give anyone the facts, right? Like we're in this space right now where I guess behind closed doors you could work things out, but like if I'm not really in the loop at all this and like I'm having to consider do I want to work, with Jeff in this capacity, I keep going back to the fact that video of him from the live event was just weirder than all hell, right? Like it showed very erratic behavior at the very least, and that's what I still think gives people reasonable pause in this situation.
Exactly. And we've seen the video when he was in TNA and they had that weird match, him and Sting, because he wasn't where he was supposed to be mentally and physically. So it's one of those deals where it's like I hope he's fine. I hope there's a justifiable excuse. Like, sorry, I had a night where it just kind of fell off real quick, but I'm good. But I just I don't know. I feel like with this to just say, all right, I'm going to AEW, and for AEW to say, yes, come on in, where this is a possible liability that they would have to like work out and figure out.
Well, and I also think that from a PR standpoint, you're working through the Jon Moxley stuff right now, and the last 2.5 months have been nothing but really rah positivity around Moxley and that decision, and trying to end toxic masculinity and all of that. And without any explanation or whatever Matt wants to say is all the facts, without all of that out there, for Jeff to just show up in AEW, and I don't think that's going to happen because he's still got to get through his 90 days. So I'm sure we'll hear more between now and March. But I think it's reasonable to understand why there is, again, some trepidation in that situation. Well, Jeff then appeared in the background of this video with his headphones on. He delivered a line that some are seen as a reference, I don't know how you could, to his recent departure. He says, sorry, man, I was listening to Release Me by Wilson Phillips. Jeff continued, look, man, I'm the whisper in the wind. I'm the Swanton Bomb, but without you, there is no poetry in motion. The truth is the truth, Matt added before his kids ran in. You don't understand how hard it is to be Matt Hardy, but he does have a point. Matt fact, Matt loves Brother Nero. So, definitely hinting that there's something more here. It doesn't seem like Jeff is like happy. Maybe I believe there's been comments from Matt about how Jeff, or they felt WWE may have jumped the gun in releasing Jeff. So, yeah, man, if you want to get all the facts out there, I think at this point, I don't really know how much further to go because, we've reached conversation overload without all the facts, as Matt would say.
Yeah. Yeah. And without us putting on like tinfoil hats and saying something ridiculous and being like, did he do this on purpose? Which is a ridiculous thing. I'm not even entertaining that, but I'm just like, it's a wait and see.
Yeah, and Sean Ross Sapp actually took to Twitter to his credit yesterday and had put out pretty bluntly that was a pretty crazy idea based off of everybody he talked to. And I think that's probably on the nose. So, yeah, I don't think Jeff was out there getting drunk trying to get released to kind of jump to AEW. That seems like a pretty wild thing. But anyway, lastly here, before we get to the rest of the news, answering Adib, Matt then uploaded a video titled A Conversation with Brother Nero, where they briefly discussed Twitch, Jeff possibly joining the platform, and then announced an upcoming acoustic concert and meet and greet tour for Jeff. And EJ, I have really bad news. Jeff is coming to Bub City in Rosemont on Friday, this Friday. Now, you have a show. You have to go perform at Second City. I'm going to be on an airplane out to California for the holidays. We will not get to attend. And I'm like, I mean this in earnest. Like, if I'd have known, right? Like, look at Jeff.
Yeah,
right?
I would have went.
Totally.
Absolutely. What?
Hey, Jeff, can I know all the facts? Can we get to that? Is this the right setting? Is Bub City the right setting for that, Jeff? Right?
And then do Freebird.
And then Freebird. But, like, it'll be a weird Freebird, because
yeah.
right?
Yeah, Swanton.
So, hey, it's 4 dates they announced, but one of them is Bub City this Friday. And if anybody in the Chicagoland area wants to go to that and get all the facts, God, I feel like I'm creating some kind of situation maybe I don't want. Like, go cost Jeff Hardy, get the facts. Not encouraging that. But if he does like a Q&A, as he's maybe want to do, go get the facts. DM me. My DMs are open. I'd love to know all the facts about this. Yeah.
The Matt facts.
By the way, I saw there was some back and forth in the chat room here a little while ago. Some folks losing the YouTube feed. Other folks have it. Not really sure what's going on. Definitely see some weirdness in our viewership numbers for today. So something is amiss. So for those of you out there that are enjoying this content right now, you're fighting through the gray noise to engage us. Just want to say you're loved. And if you've lost us, check us out. We're on the pod waves. You can find us out there. Okay. So 2 items here from WWE before we get to Deeb, and then we're going to talk about the McMahons and the mailbag. The WWE title match at Day One has been changed once again. Raw saw Lashley first defeat Owens, with Owens quickly submitting to the Hurt Lock to avoid injury. Later on, Lashley defeated Rollins in a match that had to be restarted after Owens tried to secure Rollins as the winner by DQ. That didn't stand. So then the main event saw Lashley defeat Big E in a no DQ bout in a match that saw Big E and Lashley fight off Owens and Rollins before they could finish. So now E is going to defend his title at Day One Fatal 4-Way against Owens, Rollins, and Bobby Lashley. If you like Bobby Lashley, you probably loved Monday Night Raw. I think, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm a big Bobby Lashley fan, so seeing him come out in a suit and have 3 matches in a night, yes. No, wait, yeah, 3. I was like, wait, my math. Yeah, that's awesome. I think he should have been. I didn't know why he wasn't, but I do like he just showed up and was like, I should be in this. I'm going to beat people up until I'm in it. And he's in it. My question is, I feel like Lashley has to win. He beat the odds. He did all of this, overcoming things.
So there's a lot of thoughts I have going into this, because like these multi-man matches like this are usually where they do some kind of screwy booking. Like it's an easy chance to get the belt off of somebody. Lashley makes sense. Rollins doesn't really need the title, right? Owens is an interesting choice because his contract, I believe, runs up not long after Day One. And if they were trying to, I don't know, maybe keep Kevin Owens from going to AEW, saying, we're willing to put the title on you, maybe that is enough to keep this guy around and not go to AEW, right? So very interesting match here. And if this does come to be that another person walks out as champion, I really don't feel like Big E was given his due, I guess. It's been a pretty lackluster run for Big E, almost from the get for this title run, EJ.
Yeah, they've had him lose too many matches. The way he won the title was Lashley was injured and he cashed in his Money in the Bank. He lost against Reigns when I think he should have beaten Reigns.
Right.
And we watched that match together. He just beat Reigns. Reigns beat him, and we were like, that's it? So that's just it. Cool. It just made him look weaker as a champion.
Yeah.
And he has great matches, but I think he needs a definitive, like, I am Big E, like a 2-month run of just crushing.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and he was like in a tag match after he won the title, right? Like they didn't know what to do with him. And there was like the pay-per-view right after, and he didn't even get like a proper title defense, and hasn't found the right dancing partner, hasn't found the right story. You know, the way that his title win came about, I remember reports at the time, they were like, it wasn't when they thought they were going to do it. They kind of pushed it up because they were like,
that's right.
And so like there wasn't an immediate plan kind of going into it. I would be okay with Big E winning here. I mean, I hope he gets another breath in his lungs with this title, but there's sharks in the water. And I think a good case was just made by both of us for Lashley and Kevin Owens to possibly walk out with this belt.
Absolutely. I would say one of the things helping Big E, I've seen that he's doing a lot of like media appearances. He's introducing boxers to their matches and walking people down. I see him on like a lot of hip hop radio stations. So that could be helping. But on the flip side, I don't know, man. Just Lashley has been looking beastly.
Yeah. It looked like a beast on Monday night. Well, what we didn't see on Monday night was the Mysterios and the Street Profits. Now, WWE's announced injuries that cost the match not to happen. They were supposed to have a number one contenders match for the Raw title, where the winners would go on to face Randy Orton and Riddle. Well, that match is now going to take place on the December 27th edition on Raw. The match will likely happen at Day One. No word on what these injuries are. Montez Ford did miss the Weekend Super Show. The Mysterios did not work the Weekend Live events, have not wrestled since defeating Alpha Academy last Monday night. So that didn't happen. But as we're talking about Alpha Academy, because this really does nothing for me. I mean, we'll get to it when we get to it. How great was it to see Otis pick up a win over Riddle and just be cool on Monday night, right?
Yeah, it's like, oh, wow, we figured out Otis. Great. And then also, like, smack Randy Orton around, too. And Randy Orton, who looked great last night, by the way.
Yeah.
But Otis, that was the match he needed. That was definitely the match he needed. He looked great. Him and Riddle put on a great match. If you didn't see it, watch it. Watch it again if you saw it. Fire match. It looks promising. I like Alpha Academy. Dare I say, I might love them.
I don't know that I love Alpha Academy. I still miss, like, fun Otis. You know, I this is, Brick House Tank Otis is got its charm, I think, but he's missing a lot of what I think brought Otis to the table right now, and it's swung too far. But man, he looked very dominant here. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. But here's the plus side of that. Yeah, they stripped it away, but now we know that he can always do that. Mm-hmm. So we've seen this viciousness. We know that he can be fun-loving, do the worm, and Chucky. So once he hits that middle ground, he's off. Unless they don't know what to do with him yet again.
All right. Well, EJ, I want to thank you for joining me at the top of the show to talk all the news of the day. Thank you everybody for tuning in. If you could tune in, for those of you that needed to go on a roof and attach some tin foil to the chimney, I appreciate the work. I'm sure there were a couple of you out there doing that, so thank you. But we got a little bit more to go here. Oh, by the way, thank you to Serena Deeb and AEW. Absolutely love that conversation. If you're watching us in video form, 8 minutes away, you can jump from this over to our YouTube channel, watch my conversation with Serena Deeb. We'll have highlights on the site almost as soon as this show is over here today. Really great conversation. I really hope to have Serena back on the show down the road. So today's mailbag, I wanted to make sure we had enough time for the mailbag here today, EJ, because it's gotten a pretty meaty response here over on Twitter in the last hour or so. So this was I don't usually like to take like podcast quotes and make them news on this show because we do a lot of that on the site, but I try to filter it down. But this particular news item from a podcast, we'll call it, did a lot of traffic for the site. And this came from our good friends over at Ad Free Shows. Over on the Ad Free Shows mailbag, they had on longtime WWE referee Mike Chioda, who had the following to say on the state of the McMahon family. He said, "It's sad because when I started working for this company, there was Linda McMahon, Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, and now it seems to be all broken apart. All the money in the world probably can't fix it. They have all the money in the world, a publicly traded company, which is okay. The family is torn apart at this point, I think. Maybe not torn apart all the way, which I hope not, but it's torn apart." And then Mike Chioda gets pressed on Shane McMahon. What's Shane's role right now in WWE? So Mike says, where's he at now? Is he in the office? Is he running things? Is he vice president? Is he vice CEO? Can somebody tell me where he's at right now? Because he should be there. I mean, even with Triple H out, you're going to have Johnny Laurinaitis, Road Dogg, Scott Armstrong running the effing business. You're not going to have Shane McMahon there. Where's he at? It boggles me for many years, too. A lot of heat there. It gets more interesting, believe me. That's why the feud fell out, that's for sure. It was a thing from Vince Sr. that came around many years ago. They didn't want anybody dating talent. None of the kids, none of the family. He didn't want them taking bumps, which that didn't happen. I think Shane really had a big part of that, and that's why Shane and Triple H had a falling out for many years, and that's why Shane was exiled for 10 years. Woo! Are you downwind of that dirty laundry?
Some good tea.
No kidding. Mike Chioda here. Just letting it all hang out. Wow. super freak Mike Chioda, and I'm still airing the dirty laundry. I can't stop. Just can't stop doing it. So, EJ, that's a hot take from one Mike Chioda, was it not?
Very hot, very hot. I was sitting here like I didn't know Triple H and Shane had a feud.
Dude, fall 10-year exile. Damn.
Yeah, I just thought Shane wanted to do something on his own type deal and figure out the world is what I took it as. But
got run out. Daddy's little girl ran him off with the new boyfriend, you know?
You know what this makes you think of? A hot show people have been talking about, Succession.
Damn.
I don't know if you watch, but it's kind of this system and this setup. If you watch it, it's the same sort of power dynamic with an old, out-of-touch guy in charge yelling at everybody.
I need to get into it. A lot of my friends love Secession, but it's a matter of time, I think. And by the way, Radio Rob here, 123, quickly chiming in. Secession is amazing. Okay, I'll check it out. Over the holidays. It is a matter of time, I feel like, till the McMahons get the treatment, right? I mean, we're gonna get a Vince docu-series, but like that family, that's an HBO Max series right there.
Absolutely. You know John Cena's going to play Vince, so we're going to go ahead and call it now. But that whole backstory and just from Vince McMahon taking over to when he ends is a docu-series. There's so much meat there, so much material. Yeah, since what this? Yeah, I'd watch it. Let's write it.
I'd watch it. Let's write it. I'm down. MCAS Pierce saying Shane's still mad at VKM. Didn't buy UFC when WWE had the chance. But would it have been the same, right? Like that's a great what if, but like the fact everything kind of worked out for UFC, maybe it worked out for the best. Maybe Vince getting his hands all over UFC may not have been best for UFC. Just a thought I'll put out there, you know?
Yeah, but I think Shane wanted it. That would have been Shane's project probably. I feel like, and we would have gotten Raw Underground, but years ago.
And then every time a top UFC or a top like fighter from another league comes along, then Shane like grabs him, adds him to the roster, right? Figures the right way to work him in, you know. Anyway.
Yeah.
So my question for you all today over at Wink Daily, WINC Daily, is who is your favorite McMahon? I made it real simple. Is it Vince, Linda, Shane, or Steph? Almost 500 votes here in the last hour. 43.8, the money, Shane McMahon. 29.7, Vince. 20% Stephanie. And only 6.5 for poor Linda McMahon. Very unpopular McMahon.
I mean, it makes sense, you know, the quiet McMahon. And she's also doing a lot of political fun.
Okay.
That's the nicest word I could use for it.
Yeah, fun. That's good.
Fun.
So which of the McMahons do you like the best? Who's your favorite?
I got to go with Daddy McMahon, Vince.
Yeah.
Just, you know, he created the whole world, this universe that we are now talking about and been talking about. He was one of the best, probably the best heel of all time. What he's doing now may not be the best, but I think overall I have to go with Vince.
Okay. I voted for Stephanie McMahon because Liz is laid up on the couch today. She got her booster shot late yesterday, so she had to watch Raw with me this morning. It's been a great day. And so I told her the poll, and she said, well, Stephanie is her. So that's what got my vote. But I think a good case can be made for Steph. Excellent heel, right? Top moments, women's title run. You know, looked like she was going to be the heir apparent there for a while, but, you know, secession is as secession does. And that's been reshuffled. We didn't talk about it yesterday. Did you see how The Rock talked about how he, like, grew up with Nick Khan? Isn't that crazy?
Yes. I was like, yo. Somebody said The Rock's been playing the long game.
Dude, that's wild. And in that moment, everything made sense, EJ. Like in that moment, in that 30 seconds it took me to take all that in, it all made sense to me, you know?
Yep. All the red strings connected. It's like, oh.
And like that's the thing is then I took the red string down because I was like, I don't need it anymore. And I put it in a little box. I'm gonna do a little shadow box. And be like, remember when you lost your mind trying to figure out Nick Khan?
Yeah. And now we're back.
Figured it out. Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in here today. We are about 60 seconds away from my interview with Serena Deeb, debuting over on the Wrestling Inc. YouTube channel. It's great. It's a slam banger. Definitely go check it out. Come back tomorrow. I'll be joined by Brian Wool. Don't think we'll have an interview, but if you want more Wrestling Inc. content, check out WrestlingInc.com. We're on all the socials. Tonight after NXT, we have the Wrestling Inc. podcast. No Wrestling Inc. Daily next week, at least not live. We're going to have a week filled with retro interviews I put together and compiled some of my favorite interviews from 2021 to fill all of next week. But EJ will be back on the other side of that. We got one more show in 2021. And that's about it. EJ, anything you want to put over here before we wrap up the show today?
Oh, goodness, y'all. Be safe, be jolly. Happy holidays. Enjoy yourself and your family. Sometimes it's a sad time of year for people. So find your light and find your happiness. Go look at some lights, some holiday lights.
That's beautiful, everybody. Yeah, if you're in the Chicago area, Lincoln Park Zoo, tons of lights right now.
Yeah, I think I might do that tonight. I don't know.
Go for it. Hey, I'm going on Thursday night. It's holidays on Thursday night.
Oh, I'm flying back home tomorrow to Georgia.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll miss again. And we definitely won't be going to Jeff Hardy's acoustic concert at Bub City this Friday night. But once again, I want you to go and find out all the facts, if you can, appropriately, without accosting Jeff. I would really appreciate that. I am at Nick _Hausman. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And remember, if you winked,